check one. Give me a whoo!
Woo!
Thank you.
Bonjour everyone, it's Mary Beth from Champlain Park and Jackson Middle School. I'm the Indian Ed advisor over there. And we're back out at the barn today with Cheyenne Lottie Dottie. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how to tack up a pony. There is also going to be a PowerPoint that will be along with this video. And you'll find out some things about the past and how things were done back then. But I did bring something that I kind of wanted to show you to compare. Right about the 1800s, 1850s or so, Native people started coming into the fact that they could use different instruments on their horses. And one thing they used was a pad saddle. A pad saddle was basically two pieces of leather that were sewn together, and they were stuffed with different things that you can find out in the PowerPoint. And then they also had a cinch, and they had a leather latigo, so they could hook it underneath the horse like so. It also would have had stirrups, wood stirrups attached, but the wood stirrups on a bareback riding pad like this give you a false sense that you're really real safe, and you're not. You have to be a very good rider to ride bareback, so I take off my my stirrups just so that I don't think that I'm really in my saddle, because you don't have half the control, or and it's not quite as safe. So that would be similar to what a pad saddle was like. They also, for their bridles, they basically had a rope. See if Lottie will let me do it. That would go in the horse's mouth like so. It would wrap underneath that lower jaw. Her tongue's not under it. Ouch. It would wrap underneath their lower jaw like that, and that's how they would ride. Not a lot of control. But now on to today and what we use for our tacking up our horses now. This is a saddle pad. It's got a neoprene bottom, so it lets the air flow through. It's comfortable on the pony's back. Gives a good padding for when I put on the saddle. And when I put on the saddle pad, I put it up a little bit higher on the withers than what it would normally be. You know, you've got the front of the pad because of this leather, little bit of leather here. So once I get the pad up, I'm going to slide it back a little bit, and that way any of that hair underneath her is laying flat. This is my saddle. It is a specialized saddle for Western riding. It also is made for Lottie's back. It's an Arabian saddle because they're a little bit wider. And what I do is I take my stirrup and I put it over my saddle horn, so that when I put the saddle on the pony's back, the stirrup doesn't scare her or hit her in the side. I want to make sure all my straps are out. I want to check her from the rear so I can see that that saddle's on straight. Now I'm going to put on her cinch. This is her cinch. And I'll put it right on her billet strap here. good and cinched up. You see these metal rings? When you put it on the pony, you want it to, those metal rings to kind of hit about midway underneath her. So now I can take this stirrup down. Thank you, Lottie. I'm going to put this stirrup up on her pommel. This part of the saddle is called the pommel. It's also referred to as the shoulders of the saddle. This is the cantle back here. And if you're a young person, the cantle and the pommel will come up much higher, and they'll more or less keep you in the saddle and hug you in, where this is more of a saddle for pleasure riding. Now I'm going to pull her cinch strap underneath. And I'm going to take this latigo, put it through the metal loop, double check to make sure that my latigo is straight and that it's not twisted. Bring it up, put it through this metal hoop, pull it back down. You don't want to get it too tight because it gets hard to put on. So you want to do this process twice. Back down through the metal loop, back up through the other metal loop. Now you want to be able to get your hand in there because you're going to tighten this at least 3 times before you ride. Now, when we're tying up the saddle, there's an easy way to think about it. It's called a 7-4-1 tie. So if you look at it like this with the latigo, it looks kind of like a 7. You bring it over and you've got your 4. Now you bring it up through your hole, pull it back down, and you've got your 1. So that's a 7-4-1 knot. Now we'll just put down that stirrup. We'll let her stand for a while, and we'll tighten that latigo again in a little bit. Now on to bridling. So this is my pony's bridle. This is her bit. As you remember from the last video, she kind of got away for a little bit there, went around the corner to eat some green grass. Well, that was my fault. This is what you need to do. You need to take off the halter and re-secure it to the pony's neck. That way, if she gets a feeling that she wants a little green grass or she wants to go back to her pen, she doesn't. So now I've got my reins off my bridle. Want to pull my chin strap back, get my bit right in her mouth. Up it goes, over one ear, over the other ear. Pull her pretty hair out. Now if you look right here, you don't want more than 2 wrinkles in that mouth. If this mouth has got a bunch of wrinkles like that, then the bridle's way too tight and it's going to hurt your horse. Just going to hook on her strap. You don't need that neck strap real tight. Straighten it all out, make sure she's comfy. These are the kind of reins I like because they're easy to take off and put back on. And once you take them off, you can get them all oiled up and cleaned up because you want to keep your tack in good order for when you're riding. So now the pony is all saddled and bridled. She's been standing a minute. She's probably let out a little bit of her air. So we can go back over here and we can tighten up this latigo. Now, the third time that I would tighten her latigo would be once I walked her over to the mounting block. This is a mounting block so that you can get on the pony's back. So before I get on the pony's back, I'm going to tighten it one more time. Oh, stand still. Stand. Stand. And that's the end of our video. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you learned something about ponies today. Gigawabaman, Minowa.
An Indigiqueen.
Do you want to do a prance? Can you prance? No, let's sidestep one. Come on, sidestep for me. Sidestep. Good girl. Jill, you ready to get up?
No.
Jill?
I'll do it if you do.
Brad?
Do it better first.
No.
Stand still. Come right into the camera. Knock it over.
It's your close up, Lottie.
Yeah,
Smile.
close, laddie.
Oh, I need a horse this week. You.
Hi, laddie.
A big old smooch.
No.
She's like, I don't think you can eat that.
Oh, if it was only an apple.
Can you get on the horse, Bradley? Come on, Bradley.
Hell no.
Come on, Bradley.
Look, get up on her.
Oh, go to the wheel.
She's all ready.
I'm not.
I'll just walk you around on her. I'll just put her lead on and walk you.
I'm not gonna lie.
You sure? Put
Can I put
one
my
foot,
foot in?
yeah.
Oh my god.
You're fine. Natural.
No, that was not
Hold your
natural.
rein.
Oh boy. I'm just spooked. How am I supposed to hold them? Well, this is quite fun.
Oh, I'm so sweet.
It's quite relaxing. If I knew what to do with her with these. Hold on. Oh, okay. Okie dokie. It's like going on a ride. Whee! An uncontrollable ride. Oh, horsey.
I'm on a horsey. I'm on a horsey. I can't get my. Oh.
Isn't it quite fun? Refreshing?
Such a good girl. Oh yeah, I'm sassy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the turns, look out!
look on her face.
You guys are gonna like laugh your butts off when you edit this.
You find it?
Oh yeah, what do I hold on to now?
The range.
Okay. Oh, I'm freaking out. Oh, oh. This is so
Is this
cute.
your first time?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, I feel just tradish. How did Shanabs used to do this all the time?
What's in the saddle pad? They
Oh,
didn't.
what?
They didn't have many horses. So Schnaub, look over there.
Oh.
It was a good movie though.
I gotta watch it still. You said
You
it's
haven't
on
watched
Netflix?
it? Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. Have you read the book?
Nope.
No, the book is what's up. Ooh, I cried.
I like it because they spoke to
Ah, this too. You have to go on a little practice page or something.
I'm gonna be buying a horse.
Now you got a barebacker.
Oh, what?
Nah, I'm kidding.
Well, you want a bareback too?
No
Yeah,
way.
bareback!
No
Bareback!
way.
Bareback!
You guys can do that first.